What do we know about North Korea? What other amazing facts will this country present to us? In this video, you will learn not only the history of the country's emergence, its formation, traditions and orders, but also understand why North Korea is the way it is, and what needs to happen for the regime to collapse, how much it costs to escape from the DPRK, where North Koreans live and how much they earn, how to rise in North Korea by a social elevator, and much more. 1. It is better to call the country the DPRK after all, if you suddenly will be there. Because when you say North Korea there, it will once again remind residents that Korea is divided into two countries. One of them is bright and beautiful, and the other is occupied by evil capitalist Americans. 2. The DPRK is a young state. It has existed for only 75 years. 3. But it is rather big. Almost 26 million people. This is the 54th place in the world, more than in Belarus, for example, or in Kazakhstan. 4. The capital is Pyongyang. 5. And 80% of the entire territory of the country is occupied by mountains, and it is washed by two seas, the Yellow and the Japanese. 6. From 1910 to 1945, Korea, which was not yet two different states, belonged to Japan. After the end of World War I, Japan was in decline, and therefore, the northern part of Korea was under the control of the USSR, and the southern part was under the control of the United States. As a result, when the Republic of Korea appeared, North Korea was formed in 1948. 7. Kim Il-sung became the first ruler of the country. 8. His birthday is still a public holiday in North Korea. 9. Kim Il-sung's real name is Kim Son-ju. After coming to power, he changed his name specifically, and it began to mean from the sun. 10. Kim Il-sung, in the last years of his life, was forbidden to photograph from the right side, and this was due to a tumor on the neck of the leader. All the pictures were withdrawn from public access, and the photographers could be sent to jail. 11. Despite the fact that Kim Il-sung died in 1994, he is still the formal ruler of North Korea. 12. His portrait must be present in residential buildings, apartments, public institutions, factories, in the subway, at railway stations, and so on. 13. The most serious criminal punishment has been established for the damage to the portrait. 14. For example, there is a story when a woman saved her children during a fire, instead of saving portraits of her leaders, and received a real sentence for it. 15. On June 8, 1994, when Kim Il-sung died, smiling was strictly prohibited, and speaking out loud, dancing, or drinking alcohol on this day is prohibited to this day. For any violation of the rules, people can be sent to labor camps or be killed. 16. More than 500 monuments have been erected on the territory of Kim Il-sung in North Korea. 17. Quotations from his writings and speeches are counted by heart and are used everywhere. The music outside plays with his words. 18. In addition, the DPRK uses a special Judge calendar, which counts down from the year of Kim Il-sung's birth. Therefore, the year in North Korea is not 2024, but only 112. But the North Koreans are aware that it's 2024. 19. His son and the second ruler of the country, Kim Jong-un, was born on the territory of the USSR and was named Yuri Arsenovich Kim at birth. It happened in the Khabarovsk territory in 1941, and according to the legend, which was invented by Korean propaganda, at the moment of his birth, a double rainbow appeared in the sky and the brightest star lit up, and according to the same legend, he was born not in the Esser, but at the foot of the great Peak Tusan mountain in Korea, in a secret partisan camp. 20. And here are a couple of interesting facts about him. Kim Jong-il's annual cost of imported cognac was 800 times the average annual income in the country. 21. He was transported expensive imported cheese from Italy by ordered planes. In general, he did not deny himself anything. 22. Kim Jong-un just loved movies. His collection consisted of 25,000 films, and his favorite films were Friday the 13th, Rambo, Godzilla. 23. He was the one who kidnapped South Korean film director Shin Sang-ok to film the North Korean version of Godzilla. During 8 years of forced business trip, the filmmaker shot 20 propaganda films and was imprisoned for 5 years for his views, where he was brainwashed. Eventually, he was sent on a business trip to Vienna to arrange for the distribution of a North Korean film to the whole world, but he successfully escaped. 24. The passion for cinema is an important point because even before Kim Jong-un came to the throne, he contributed to the opening of the Six Studio. It was a fairly successful animation studio in those years, which drew cartoons not only for North Korea, but also for the whole world. Ninja Turtles, Totally Spice, The Simpsons, SpongeBob. Some parts were drawn really there. 25. According to the Constitution, the DPRK is a socialist country, but in fact the state is equally far from both communism and capitalism, and much more resembles a monarchy. 26. The power in the country is inherited. Kim's son, Kim Jong-il, and his son Kim Jong-un still rule. 27. When Kim Jong-un was officially declared the leader of North Korea on December 28, 2011, he became the youngest head of state in the world. He was 29 years old at that time. 28. Kim Jong-un's date of birth is not known for certain, circa 1980 to 1984. 29. Kim Jong-un is a basketball fan, hence his friendship with Dennis Rodman, a former NBA star who has visited North Korea more than once at the invitation of the leader himself. 30. Kim Jong-un studied in Switzerland. He came there in 1991 under the name Park In-ji and lived with his sister Kim Yi-jong and his uncle, Kim Pyeon-song. 31. He attended an international school in the Bern region, where he studied English, German and French, as well as mathematics, science and art. 32. Was interested in basketball, computer games and American films, but also showed leadership abilities in politics. Some of his classmates and teachers remember him as a friendly, humble and sociable person who did not stand out among other students. However, others say that he was withdrawn, did not study well and had problems with discipline. 33. Kim Jong-un had brothers, and even has one to this day. Kim Jin-nam's older brother was killed in 2017 at Kuala Lumpur Airport. 34. And his middle brother Kim Jong-chul is living in exile in China now. It is believed that he was a rather gentle and kind person, so he was not suitable for the role of heir to the throne. 35. In general, the history of Korea is quite painful. The country experienced severe famine from 1995 to 1999, which, according to various estimates, claimed about 500,000 lives. 36. The famine was caused by a sharp reduction in international supplies, the ineffective policy of the North Korean leadership, low harvests in the country, as well as weather conditions, floods, droughts. 37. North Korea's rise began in the early 2000s, when the country received significant aid from China and South Korea, as well as increased its exports, including food, drugs and weapons. 38. Kim Jong-un has already got the country on the rise. People may have continued to starve, but the situation was improving. 39. He also got a country with a ferocious control mechanism working properly, the world's most severe censorship and the largest number of political prisoners in the world. And despite the fact that he studied in Switzerland, he did not make any concessions, because I understood that if Koreans start to learn about another world, the regime will fall. 40. Moreover, there have already been cracks. There was an illegal turnover of South Korean and Chinese films and books in the capital, and something had to be done urgently. 41. He brought the Linux operating system to the country, but this is an unusual Linux. 42. The system allows you to open only files authorized by the authorities. That is, if you created, for example, a thesis document and decided to give it to your friend on a USB stick, he will not be able to open this file, because this file is not certified by the authorities. 43. Also, every computer screen is periodically scanned, and then these screenshots are stored and checked. 44. By the way, ADULT films face an even tougher sentence than South Korean TV series and Bibles. 45. The punishment for the distribution of foreign audio and video products has been strengthened. Here is a very recent case. 2 16-year-olds are tried and sentenced to hard labor for 12 years for watching South Korean TV series. 46. One of the most famous refugees from the DPRK, Park Young-mi, told how, at the age of 9, she attended the public execution of the mother of one of her friends for watching South Korean films and giving DVDs to her friends, and who turned her in. 47. There are people here for this case. In the DPRK, there is one informant per 50 people. There are regular raids at night to check if your radio transmitters are sealed, for example. 48. because in regions near South Korea or China, you can catch the signals of their radio stations and listen to their radio. 49. They also check whether the portraits of the leaders are clean. To do this, there is a special set. You need to wipe it every day. 50. And in order to spend the night away from home, you need to register that you will spend the night at a certain address. 51. Despite the fact that all power in the country belongs to one dynasty, there is something like an elite parliament that is re-elected every 5 years. 52. But, as you understand, the results are predetermined. Everything, as a rule, is inherited, so this system does not collapse. Since there are no superfluous ones, it is not profitable for anyone to overthrow Kim Jong-un, because when the regime falls, they will also fall, the elite. 53. In addition to the ruling dynasty in the DPRK, there is also a class caste system. It's called Songbun. They are enemies, neutral and loyal. 54. It is more important that the position in the Songbun affects whether a person will be able to join a party, get an education and a position, and in difficult times, such as in the 90s, when there was famine. It also influenced the provision of access to food. Therefore, yes, those years the enemies of the state literally die. 55. In the DPRK, the whole family can be punished if one person commits suicide or another crime. 3 generations in his family are usually punished. 56. Whatever the status of the Songbun, it is inherited. No matter how hard a person tries, he will not be able to get a good job if there was an enemy of the state in his family. 57. And it is very easy to become an enemy in the DPRK, as you know. For example, you can just keep a Bible at home. 58. Any religion in North Korea is severely punished. Christianity, especially, because, in his opinion, it promotes Western values. 59. Here's another thing. Making international calls is a crime. 60. There is internet and communication in the country, but not many. In North Korea, only 2,000 people have access to the internet, but to the internal internet, it is severely censored and curtailed, and they can only grant the right to connect to it for work and study. 61. Only the country's elite, intelligence officials and ambassadors from different countries have access to the normal internet. 62. Such positions are highly valued in society and are accompanied by extremely high salaries. After all, these are the only people who can objectively look at the country and understand what is really going on here. 63. The only thing you can do, for example, being a tourist in North Korea, is to send an email through a computer club, and the cost of such a letter will literally be measured in the number of characters of words in your message. 64. Here's another interesting fact. Sleeping in a meeting while Kim Jong-un is talking can get you the death penalty. For example, North Korean Defense Minister Hyun Yong-chul was executed in 2015 in front of more than 100 people because he fell asleep during one of Kim Jong-un's events. 65. Only men, civil servants, can drive cars. Women do not have this right, even if they work in this sector. And according to statistics, only 1 in 100 people can own a car in North Korea. 66. Every North Korean citizen must serve in the army from the age of 17. Men are from 5 to 12 years old, depending on the unit, and women are 3 years old. This is a world record. Yes, women also necessarily undergo military service, and more than 16% of the state budget is spent on military needs themselves. 68. In 2013, Kim Jong-un published a list of allowed hairstyles. There are 28 of them, but the misconception of many is that these are, they say, mandatory hairstyles. No, these are recommended ones. You can do any short haircut, but long hair and dyed hair, that's what you'll be charged for. 69. By the way, there are no LGBT people in the country. That's right there. It is believed that the country so clean and rebellious that there simply cannot be LGBT people in it. 70. In the DPRK, it is forbidden to use any devices running on Android or iOS, be it a phone, tablet, or computer. They have mostly Chinese smartphones there with a modifying Android, which, of course, does not allow step to the right, a step to the left. The phone can be easily tapped, viewed. The search history and actions are not erased. 71. The cars here are also mostly Chinese, and in general there is a lot of Chinese here. 72. One of the main requirements of the Korean ideology is constant employment. Therefore, Men and women of North Korea work 6 days a week and devote their free time on weekends to some kind of volunteer work, rallies, and so on. 73. By the way, protests are allowed here, but not political ones. 74. For example, they had just a crazy denomination where private traders were thrown. They naturally began to grumble and resent, because they were thrown 100 times, that is, they became impoverished 100 times at the moment, and naturally they began to be indignant and the state gave in. 75. Yes, despite the fact that hunger has been more or less sorted out, now about 46% of the population still live below the poverty line, which is 15 million people for a minute. 76. The situation naturally worsened due to COVID, despite the fact that he was not officially in North Korea, and judging by the investigations, he was almost never there. The relations with China have suffered, which has also closed. 77. And then in 2021, storms and floods hit again, which affected the harvest. In the DPRK, there is a system with coupons. Some products are issued by Coupon 78. And for ordinary citizens, meat is a festive meal because the main diet is cheap rice and vegetables. In the DPRK, apartments look like this. And this, by the way, is the reference apartment that will be shown to you on TV 81. Apartments can be given free of charge to all engineers, military personnel, politicians, and honored workers for their labor merits. If you want to buy, then the cheapest in Pyongyang in the capital will cost you about $30 to $40. 83. In general, if you forget about what this country is like and look at it purely aesthetically, it definitely has its own vibe, which attracts tourists here. Let's take a look at the main sites together. The Tower of the Juch Idea, the Victory Museum, the Jemusin Memorial Palace, Kimrsanovskaya Square, the Mansdik Grand Monument, the State Circus, the Concrete Wall, the Triumphal Arch, the Reunification Arch, and the Ryugun Hotel. 84. Surprisingly, life expectancy in the country is relatively high to 72.5 years. This is the 106th place in the world. 85. There are no early marriages in the DPRK. As soon as the girl turns 25 and her chosen one turns 27, they can get married. In this picture, a tourist photographer was able to capture the newlyweds on their wedding day. When he asked them why they decided to get married anyway, their answer was something like, "We want to have many children who will join the army when they grow up and protect our leader from enemies." 87. Even more surprisingly, according to the CIA, the literacy rate in the DPRK is 100%. That is, there is no person in the country over the age of 15 who could not write or read. This is a record all over the world. 88. They have nuclear weapons in the region of 20 warheads. That's more than enough. Due to the constant military tests, the beginning of which is not disclosed, Japan and South Korea, which are nearby, are constantly sounding the alarm. Just recently, North Korea staged another test of its missiles in it, and the missile flew 50 kilometers from the border with South Korea. The entire coastal area was evacuated. The flag of the DPRK is blue stripes, white, one red in the middle and a 5-pointed star, which stands for the official symbol of the ideology of communism, reflecting the memory of revolutionary traditions. The red color is the blood shed by Korean patriots, as well as revolutionary determination. Patriotism. The blue color reflects the desire of the forces of the revolution for brotherhood. The white color symbolizes the bright thoughts and ideals of people. The coat of arms looks like this. A hydroelectric power plant is a powerful heavy industry. The working class and rice ears are socialist, agriculture and cooperative peasantry. 96. It is calculated here mainly in cash, but there are also cards. 97. If we are talking about salaries, then a good engineer, for example, can earn from $50 to $70. Outside the city, of course, everything is much worse. $20 to $25. 98. In general, there is a lot of corruption in the DPRK. You can say that everything is based on this corruption. Step to the right, step to the left. The issue can be solved only by paying. Corruption in the DPRK is the main way to get medical care, housing, work and even food. And one of the refugees interview said that anyone who does not pay bribes in North Korea is doomed to die. Basic necessities and promotions, access to foreign media and escape from the country, prison conditions and even release from arrest. Everything can be bought if there was money. 99. For example, now escaping from North Korea will cost around $10,000 to $15,000, although previously could have been done safely for a couple $1,000s. Yes, even for free, because the border with China was almost not guarded in any way. 100. Until now, North Korea has been closed to tourists since 2020, when COVID appeared. But now the borders have been opened for those who will fly on a ski vacation. It looks like this. The trip costs around €1,000 per person. 101. By the way, the flight will be operated by a North Korean airline, where, of course, there are just the oldest planes, which are legendary, but there are photos. It looks, of course, very doubtful, and the price tags are quite big. This is where our 101 facts come to an end. What other interesting facts would you add to this list? Write in the comments, and there are many other interesting videos on our channel. Subscribe,